Let's start off here. How have you felt about Donald Trump and Elon Musk using 18-year-old dudes to fire veterans and lifelong civil servants?
A lot of these guys are like gamers, and I envision them like looking for a pot of gold, to get like extra powers and stuff like that. It's almost like a game, but this is real people's lives, and it doesn't make sense to be. I'm all for trying to root out waste, fraud, and abuse.
Yep.
But why do you want to fire the people that oversee the nuclear stockpile?
Aren't there proper channels to report waste, fraud, and abuse, and you don't have to do it through the executive branch?
Well, the problem is that the public views the government as being wasteful. I mean, that's to defend just the status quo is not good enough. So I'm all for going after waste, fraud, and abuse. But don't fire, like I said, the people that oversee the nuclear stockpile. Don't fire the people that oversee the avian flu. Don't fire the people that are responsible for rooting out a measles epidemic. That doesn't make any sense. Why are you firing the lowest wage people, the probationary employees? Instead, you should have a plan over a period of years where when people retire, that are the senior employees, you don't replace those positions. And then you use technology and you use consolidation to try and make things more efficient.
For the party that talks about merit, they're firing people very indiscriminately, right? And you talked about the nuclear stockpile, people that were fired. Did you hear that they tried to rehire them 24 hours later and couldn't contact them because they were locked out of their emails? Is this amateur hour? What are we doing?
Amateur hour. And you talked about people, okay? There's a woman who came to my district the other day, She graduated from college. She was working as a waitress. She got jobs at office buildings. She finally got hired by the IRS. She was working on a backlog from cases in 2022, working long hours every day. They fired her. The problem is she's 7 months pregnant, and she's going to lose her health insurance. She's got a baby to be due in 2 months. So, these are people that are involved. So let's have a plan. Let's do it over a period of time. I was a county executive of a big county. We reduced the workforce by 15%. We didn't lay anybody off. We did it through normal attrition, retirement incentives, and when people left, we didn't fill those positions, and we got consolidation and technology to try and run things more efficient.
So there are proper ways to do it without sending out 200 manic tweets a day and trying to, I didn't know that. I'm telling you for the first time.
It's chaotic. And there's all kinds of reports that the things that they're listing on their wall of honor, as they call it, or whatever they call it, that are totally inaccurate.
Yeah.
There's just mistakes.
It's like $300,000 to something that doesn't exist, and then they'll use that to distract from the fact that they're about to pass a multi-trillion-dollar bill, right?
That is the point, the best word, distract.
Yeah.
Okay, because these guys are like pickpockets. What do pickpockets do? One guy bumps into you, and when you're distracted from getting bumped into, the other person picks your pocket. And so we're getting distracted by all this stuff going on, but they want to cut taxes for some of the wealthiest Americans by $4.5 trillion, and they want to cut important essential programs like Medicaid, like hospitals, like nursing homes. 2/3 of the people in nursing homes are on Medicaid. So you can't cut these programs without having dramatic negative impacts on people's lives.
Yep. Are you wearing a pro-Ukraine tie?
Yeah.
Can I ask you, do you agree that Zelensky should not accept any deal that doesn't have security guarantees that are explicit, rather than, because the mineral deal had these implicit security guarantees, as Trump kept saying, but you need explicit security guarantees,
Listen,
right?
I'm a person who wants to work together across party lines to get things done. I pride myself on that. I'm the co-chair of the Problem Solvers Caucus, Democrats and Republicans trying to find common ground to work to get things done. When I saw what happened at the Oval Office the other night, I was so angry. Really angry, because I felt that Zelensky was ambushed. When that guy asked him a question, he said, "You don't have a suit? You're coming here without a suit on?" That guy was Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Why is he asking questions in the Oval Office? And why doesn't he ask that question when Elon Musk shows up with a T-shirt and a ball cap on?
Exactly. Weren't they genuinely kind of just bullying him?
They were bullying him. They ambushed him.
And then they all start smirking. And you saw Marco Rubio sinking into the chair. He didn't really like that. What do you think is going through his mind right now? Like, if you...
Zelensky?
No, Marco Rubio.
Let's think about Zelensky's mind.
First, yeah.
His people are getting killed.
Yeah.
Women are getting raped. Children are getting kidnapped. And these guys are treating it like it's a reality TV show. This is serious business. We all want peace. I like the mineral deals idea. It's fine. Let's do something like that. But let's, as you said at the beginning of your questioning, let's have security guarantees. Because if Putin comes back in again, what's going to stop him? And let me say one last thing. These guys say, Hegseth said the other day, and I think Vance has said it too, Ukraine's such a small country. How could they possibly beat Russia? Okay, let's say that we give up on it. We say, oh, you're the small guy, you can't win. What happens to the countries next door?
Yep.
Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia. What happens to Moldova? What happens to Poland? So this is serious business, and it's not being treated as serious as it should be.
Yep, and Trump flips reality. He says Zelensky's trying to start World War III when what you just said, Vladimir Putin being justified in his imperial ambitions, would actually start World War III. I mean, the Baltic countries that you just listed have been on Russia's border for decades, since 2004. So when Vladimir Putin uses his justification that NATO countries on our border are a threat, he already had Baltic countries on our border. How does the president of the United States begin to be sympathetic to these narratives? I really don't. Is it their private phone calls, or?
I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's a strategy. I don't know if it's amateur hours, you said. I don't know if it's mean-spirited. We don't really know what it is. And we have to just figure out how we can keep on moving forward.
Yep.
Working together when we can and fighting back when we must. But tonight is the State of the Union.
Yep.
And the president in his campaign said a couple things. He said, number one, we're going to rapidly reduce costs. That was part of his campaign. Number two, he says we're going to secure the border and we're going to fix the immigration system. And number three, he's going to end the Ukrainian war in 24 hours, and we're going to have the best reputation in the world. Well, look at those three things. Costs are going up, the stock market's going down, people are freaking out about their 401ks, everybody's worried about the economy. Number two, when it comes to immigration, there's no bipartisan effort to try and fix the border, fix the asylum system, and treat people like human beings when it comes to the Dreamers and the TPS recipients and the farm workers and other essential workers we've got in our country. We need to get a deal done to actually help those people and secure the border the way that the American people want us to. And number three, instead of getting us peace, we've got our allies.
Yeah.
We've got North America, Canada, Mexico. We got Europe, and we got Ukraine all freaking out whether they can count on the U.S. anymore.
Yeah, and to build on point number two there, I've read numbers that we're deporting about the same amount as Biden's last year in office, which means that Trump promised these mass deportations. They're televising them with like Dr. Phil or whatever to try to make it seem like they're, but it's all a show.
It's all a show.
So he promised all these rapid fixes. You just named three of them, and we're about a month and a half in. We had no rapid fixes, right? How do Democrats message about this?
Well, we got to talk about the cost. I think people are concerned about costs right now. People are really worried about the cost of living. And when you see prices going up because of the tariffs, prices going up because of the deportation, people are worried about the fact that the labor market's going to be a mess between the deportations and the tariffs, and as well as the firings that are taking place. We got to have some concern about costs going forward.
Absolutely.
When it comes to immigration, we got to make a deal. You can't do these executive orders and hope that it's going to be solved. We haven't fixed the immigration system for 30 years. I'm working together with Democrats and Republicans to try and find some common ground. We need the president to reach out to us. Right now, they're trying to do all my way or the highway. At some point, they're going to need the Democrats. When that time comes, we got to be ready to make a deal.
And you won a district in New York that was also won by Trump, correct?
Yeah, he won by 19,000 votes, 5.5 points.
Do you think your immigration message is part of the reason why? We talked about this during our last conversation too, but the Democratic Party has this tendency to purity test sometimes. If you don't hold every single issue perfectly, they'll try to eject you, when maybe they should embrace, I don't know, a message like
common sense.
Yeah.
We need to embrace common sense. And you know what? When people see those images of people streaming over the border, they're like, that doesn't seem right. When people hear they don't feel safe in their neighborhood, that's not right. When people see costs too high, that's not right. But the problem is that Trump ran that he was going to address these things right away.
Yep.
Even when in his inaugural speech on January 20th, he said we're going to rapidly reduce costs. I don't know what we're waiting for.
Someday, any day now. You know, there was this video of Obama in 2012. He had a very strong message on immigration. He said people need to come over here the proper way. You don't get a free pass. His message was honestly like, it was basically the same as Trump's, but Trump is obviously way more bombastic about
mean-spirited.
all. He's crazy. Yeah, he's mean-spirited. Obama had a strong message on immigration, but after the Democratic Party began to cede that message, it feels like the Republicans filled that vacuum.
The bottom line is we can't defend the status quo. Prices are too high. We do need to shake things up. The border was not secure. The asylum system is broken. But instead of us fighting Democrats and Republicans fighting each other, let's pick our common enemies. Who are our common enemies? Well, the cartels of the organized crime and the coyotes that are getting billions of dollars by taking people across Mexico to our southern border to try and take advantage of the asylum system that's broken right now. Let's attack that problem instead of attacking each other. Let's attack the problems that are causing our prices to go up.
And Representative, are there any final thoughts you have for the audience, for Democrats who right now are wondering where we're going to go over the next few years? What have you been thinking about lately?
I mean, the bottom line is, when everything's said and done, is I truly believe in our country. I really believe that our systems and our Constitution, between the separation of powers, will hold. And there are some Republicans that are starting to speak up. Don Bacon from Nebraska has said the law is the law. You got to follow the law. A guy who's a Freedom Caucus evangelical from Alabama, Gary Palmer, said you got to follow the Constitution. You can't get rid of the Department of Education without going through Congress. Other members have come out when they try to cut the 9/11 funding that affects so many people in New York. Another guy, Mario Diaz-Balart from Florida, came out and said he's on the Appropriations Committee. He's going to zealously guard that. The Constitution gives the power of the purse to the Democrats. Brian Fitzpatrick, a Republican, Joe Wilson, Republican, are standing up for Ukraine and saying that Trump has handled this the wrong way. So there is hope, but we got to keep on pushing. We got to use legislation, litigation, and mobilization. Keep fighting, keep on working. Things will work out. We'll make it work out.
Thank you so much for your time, Representative. The Midas Mighty always appreciate when you hop on. The brothers, I'm sure they love seeing this, so thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Appreciate
that. We'll do it again.
Thank you.
Yeah.